Hello out there in internet land. My name is Guy Royse, and welcome to my Hubble stream. Today, we're going to be doing something that's near and dear to my heart. Years ago, my buddy George Walters and I, you see right here, there's George Walters II, did this thing called the Evercraft Kata. It was part of a workshop to coach TDD called Putting the D&D in TDD. We've been doing it for over a decade. I mean, it's waned off in popularity over the years, just because a lot of people have done it. But it's a exercise where you can code up Dungeons and Dragons using TDD. And so the idea of it was, rather than try and convince people, oh, you did? Cool. You're going to get to see, Bitham, you're going to get to see how I approach the problem. The idea is that rather than try and convince people that TDD is awesome, just go do it for a day in a workshop and then walk away and make your own choice. And of course, the desired outcome is the choice is wow, this is awesome. I'm never going to stop doing this. Hey, Codebase Alpha, how you doing? Good to see you. And so I thought, well, there's something I want to learn. I haven't used Jest yet, and so I decided I should learn Jest. And I have this tenet where when you're doing a project to learn something, you learn one thing, just one thing. It's like what's that guy from City Slickers? The one thing, right? Curly. It was Curly from City Slickers. And figuring out what that one thing is. But you do one thing, right? You don't try and say, oh, well, I want to learn all these things, and so I'm going to learn Zig, and I'm going to learn whatever test framework Zig is. I've never done a Zig before. And hey, Brendan, how's it going? We're doing the Evercraft Kata. I should have invited you, but you streamed yesterday, so but I won't finish it. So we could do it the next time you're on stream. You could learn like Zig and whatever its testing framework is, and then do some problem you've never tried, and you're going to get lost in all the pieces parts. And so I'm picking things that I know so that I can learn Jest. I know JavaScript. I mean, I'm doing Jest, so I have to do JavaScript, right? And I don't know Jest very well. I looked at it this morning just enough to get an environment set up. And so I want to pick a known problem. I don't want to try a new kata. I want to pick a known problem. So I'm going to do the Evercraft Kata, which is fun, and it's a favorite of mine, and it's just kind of fun and ridiculous. Jest is a JavaScript testing framework. Actually, it's right here. If I go back to their homepage, they claim it is a delightful JavaScript testing framework with a focus on simplicity. We're going to find out today if that's true or not. I suspect it is. I mean, why would they lie? Right? It looks like it's a little, honestly, it looks like it's easier to work with than Mocha. And it does all the things I would want it to do, and it's got mocking built in, so you're not bringing like all these third parties and munging them all together. It just does everything for you. So it's a one-stop shop as opposed to like a menu like you get with Mocha. So I'm going to do the Evercraft. I actually debated briefly of doing the Poker Hands Kata because you got all these cards here, but I thought putting the D&D and TDD would be more fun, and I'm a little more familiar with it. I mean, I know how to play poker too, right? So that's the plan for today. I'm going to go ahead and code this up, and all I have is a folder, and I've not looked. I had not looked at Jest until this morning, and all I did was I got one test passing and figure out how to wire it all together, and I actually deleted all that code. Although I did write down a little cheat sheet note here on how to set up my package.json to make it run cleanly. But I thought it'd be worthwhile for everyone to have the experience of seeing me set up a project. So that is the plan for the day. And it is July 3rd, and I have it off work, as I imagine many of you do, if you're here in the U.S., because 4th of July is Independence Day, and that's tomorrow on a Saturday, which we have off already, and so we get Friday off instead. So I guess it's Independence Eve. And if you're in the U.K., I guess Happy Treason Day, everybody. Because that's what we were, right? 250 years ago-ish. So, fun fact before we get started, actually, is I am old enough to remember the bicentennial in '76, and I was like 4 years old, and I just have this memory of the parade going in front of our house and this guy dressed as Uncle Sam walking by in stilts. So, fun, useless bit of data there. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you're not familiar with the Evercraft Kata, It is coding up Dungeons and Dragons for fun and education. And we got the requirements broken up into iterations, which aren't really real. I mean, because you can't say in iteration 1 you're going to do all these things, because if you're doing Agile, then iterations are, well, you get done what you get done, right? But and they start out really simple, and then they get more and more elaborate as you go on. So, and these are all based off of 3rd edition or 3.5 edition of D&D. They're inspired by, but they're not exactly the same as. So, if you're wondering how this relates to 5th edition, it doesn't. So, just just stating that for the record, right? So, let's go ahead and get our project set up. I have over here an empty project. And if we look ls here, we can see there's nada here. So let's do a git init dot. So we have a git repo, and let's do an npm init in here to create a package JSON. We'll call it Evercraft, that's fine. Version 0.0.1. Description, guys, implementation of Evercraft with JavaScript and Jest. Entry point, I'll delete that later. Test command, put that in later. Git repository, don't care. Keyword, blah, blah, blah. Author is Guy Royse. I'm going to put my email in there too. Now everyone can email me, oh my God, what will we do? And license is, I don't care. Yeah, there we go. So now we've got a package JSON, and then we want, we don't care about that. We don't care about the license either, actually. It's just public domain. It's just throwaway play code to learn from. And we'll say private is true so that it doesn't nag us about our package.json not being properly formatted. Lol snip 2. Welcome to the chat. So here we go. Let's go. For Jest, all we need to do is do npm install -- save dev Jest. And I know you can do npm space I, but I don't know why. I type install. Look, things that are deprecated. No way. And this is the watching npm install show. Thank you for watching. There we go. And it doesn't like that. Let's add a git ignore. The Git plugin for Visual Studio Code is overwhelmed by the number of things that are in node modules, as well it should be. And we'll put .vs code in here as well. There we go, just in case anything ends up there. And so there's a package JSON. And then for test, we want that to just run Jest. Thusly. And then to configure Jest, this is one of the things I looked up before. We need to add a little Jest section here. And we need to add a little test matcher. So I'm gonna leave that there for a moment. I want 2 folders here. We're gonna have a spec folder, which is where all of our specifications will go in, and we'll have a lib folder, which is where all of our code will go in, potentially. Actually, let's remove the lib folder for now. It's a little soon. The test will force us to create that. Okay, that needs a comma. And now for Jest, let's go ahead and tell it the test match. This would be all the things that we would, where to look for our tests in the folder structure. And it uses a glob, and it uses an array of globs. So you want ** /spec / ** spec.js. And so what this will look for is anything that's in the spec folder, as many directories deep as you want to go, starts with anything, ends with --spec.js. So that means that makes our files testable. Oh, well, thanks. Ho, ho, ho. I want to get a Stream Deck so that I can have like the Santa button that I push whenever anyone mentions my beard. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of funny. Yeah, I need to get some of my custom emojis uploaded and set up here. There's the guy head logo that I use. You know, you see it right here in the bottom left. I can't point to it because it's on OBS, but it's the bottom left icon that is a more brown-haired version of me. By the way, if you pay attention to that, it will bobble back and forth every few minutes. Some persons accuse me of that being a troll. It does indeed do that, and it's just have to be randomly every 1 to 5 minutes. Okay, so just a little housekeeping here. Add this to the workspace dictionary so that I don't have to constantly see. This is so annoying that my last name always needs to be added to a dictionary because it wants to spell it with a C. So we should be able to do an npm test at this point. And it's matched no tests, so that's a good sign. It's what it's supposed to be. So let's add a spec. So if we look at the requirements here, the first requirement of the Evercraft Kata is character creation. As a character, I want to have a name so that I can be distinguished from other characters, and names can be gotten and set. And so they're implied in there, but not actually stated, is that you probably need a default name as well. So let's create a new file in here called hero. So there's temptation to create a character spec, but then you have to create a character class. There's also classes, and then you need to create a class. The overloading is strong in this exercise, and so I always use hero instead of character because it's not a keyword. So for this, let's go ahead and we're going to need to require. I'm going to say const hero. I'm going to put some assumptions on what I expect the require structure to look like, what I expect to get returned back. So // Evercraft. So we'll bring in an Evercraft, which will be in the root, and then it'll have a hero within it that we can pull out, and that'll be a hero class. And then we can say describe said hero. And one of the things that I already like about Jest is that I can use arrow functions here, whereas in Mocha I'm using function all the time. Much nicer. And I need a subject, so let subject, I'm just going to define it here. And then before each, and then pass in a function. And then we can say subject equals new hero. And because I'm using arrow functions, I can actually inline that. That's actually kind of nice. I think it's kind of nice. I mean, to make that clear, it would be this, right? So you're setting up the subject. But there's really no reason to not just make this a single line, because we're not going to do anything else in there. I am going to space that out a bit, though. I promise. And then here we can then describe things on the hero. So let's describe the name. And I'm going to use the little hash idea there to represent the things that are being that are properties on the thing being described. See you in a few, Codebase Alpha. Cool. Thanks a lot, Brandon. Yeah. Yeah, if you want, the real question, so Brandon's might possibly be on stream with me on Monday, which I think would be a lot of fun. And we could keep working on the Evercraft Kata, or we could work on Redis Mud. I think it's kind of up to him. But let me know. So describe name, and then we can say it, or we can say test. I like it better. I like how it makes a sentence, right? Describe name. It it defaults to empty string. So that's a function, and we can say expect subject.name, and I'm going to use properties to be empty string. And I wonder if there's a to be empty in Jest. We'll look here at the expect. Let's look for empty. To match, to throw, to have length, to have property. Expect string containing. Let's insert. I'm just curious. I'm kind of looking through here to see if there's anything. There's some these are probably like expect to be array containing value, right? And not versions of that as well. To be null, to be truthy, to be undefined, to equal, to match. So, hey Kyle, how's it going? Oh, is there not anything? Can you do not anything? I don't know. We're hitting our first learning moment. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and make this pass first, and then I'm going to refactor the test, because then I'll know it's actually failing for the right reason, and then from there, then I can go ahead and refactor the test. So. Sorry, lol snip. I do tend to speak kind of fast. It's enthusiasm is what it is. But if you want me to restate something slowly, then I will. That's not a problem. I'd be happy to do that. So it's complaining that, of course, require Evercraft doesn't work because that doesn't exist. So let's go to evercraft.js. Let's go ahead and make that. And let's just see if that changes our error. It should. Let's embiggen this. Yeah, it does, because it says hero is not a constructor, because this would be returning undefined. So class hero, which is exactly... Oh, hey, Grumpy Game Dev, good to see you. And then module dot exports equals, and then we'll just return each of these classes in turn. And at some point, we'll probably pull hero out into its own class in the live directory. But right now, we don't have enough code to really justify that. So that'll be a refactor we do later. This should change my arrow, my message again. Okay, yeah, so .name is undefined now. So let's do a get name return empty string, and we'll just single line that because that's real simple. And now that should pass. And it does. Good. Ah, yeah, here I am. I made it. Yes, Grumpy Game Dev. Have no fear, him is here. I just made a change. These tests actually run kind of slow. That could be my computer. So let's look at Jest again now, and we said to not array, not string containing. I don't know if not anything will work, because that would be nothing. To have property, to have length, to be falsy. It would definitely be falsy, wouldn't it? To be null, to be truthy, to be undefined, to be not a number, to equal to match to throw. We'll just leave it empty string. I think that'll be fine. Cool. So that's a real basic bit of TDD. Let's go ahead and explore another property of... Yeah, it's not bad, Brendan. It's not bad at all. It can be changed. So the name can be changed. That's the other thing about name. And so we can say subject.name equals... who should we... who should we pick? I'm going to scroll through chat here and pick someone. I'm going to pick Codebase Alpha because he's not here. And so we'll make Codebase Alpha. I'm going to smush that all. I don't know. It will just do it as he writes it. S and B. There we go. Should we do S and B? There we go. And then we would expect that to then set it. Now this test should fail because I have a getter, and then it means the corresponding setter won't work. And yeah, it did not work. And so I am going to, we'll make this pass, and then I'm going to pause and figure out why these things are so slow. Because it is painfully slow. So this will set the name, then we need to get it again, and so we need a constructor here. Now I know that I could just say, I could just have an empty class and .name would work. All right, JavaScript's like that. But I know that most of my properties are going to turn into formulas, and so I'm trying to be explicit about it, right? And not use sort of just the magic of JavaScript. So we're going to set name to empty string, and this will return this underscore name. And the setter will set it, and that should pass. And they both pass. That's good. I'm going to look and see if there's a way to set. Well, I'm going to commit. Initial project and first and names. Did I not do? Oh. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I like is Brendan is this. I mean, I have a sort of a spec and lib sort of structure I tend to like, but I like having one thing at the root. And the plan here is that Hero will get put into its own file in lib, and Evercraft will just bring in that class, and then it'll export all of the classes. And so you can say require Evercraft ... and that kind of stuff. So let's find out why these things are running so slowly. Actually, let's do this too. Git branch. There we go. That's better. Let's figure out why these run so slow. Okay, well, good night. Have a nice sleep. And feel free to ask me any English questions. I actually know a bit about English and been speaking it for decades. Good night. Yeah, because over 1,700 milliseconds is way too slow. Is there a way to do like Jest watch or something like that, so that it runs at once? Or and it just watches for the watch plugins. That looks complicated. I'm gonna do the Jest runs slow. There we go. Very poor performance on basic tests. There we go. That is what I'm experiencing. Let's see what it says. The comments seem to be works on my machine. I did it on my Mac, solved problems, blah, 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 blah. Maybe that. Watch all and run in band. Actually, let's just see what happens when we do that. I'm going to go ahead and just do it like this. Oh, that's interesting. That's nice and fast. That'll work. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's because it has iOS constraint. I think it just has expensive spin up time is really what it boils down to, because once it's loaded, it goes fast. I feel like I should be able to set these inside of here, but it's working, so I'm not going to complain. Okay, back to the Evercraft Kata, because fun. So as a character, I want to have an alignment so that I have something to guide my actions. And so a character's got a name. Now the character gets an alignment. Alignments can be gotten and set, and they are good, evil, and neutral. So let's write a spec. Let's do describe alignment. And say it defaults to what would going to be a good default alignment? I think neutral is probably a good default alignment, because it can only be certain values. So so let's say it defaults to neutral, and so we can say and there's a couple ways we could do this. If I was not using JavaScript, I might use enums for this. Chaotic stupid, that's right. Well, there's also lawful stupid, right? Yeah, it needs more Redis. Yeah. I am not actually doing any database on this at all. I'm just doing this for fun, for funsies. Lawful good, chaotic neutral, chaotic stupid, and true stupid. Yeah. Expect subject dot alignment to be neutral. And that fails because it runs it for me automatically. Very nice. It got undefined, which of course it did. So let's give this a get alignment. And just return neutral. And I'm being a purist here with my tests, of course. But that also means we can go pretty fast. And then we can say, it's can be good. And so we'll say subject.alignment equals good. And we'll expect this to be good. And so that now we need to actually be able to set it. Actually, there's a feature of Jest, which I think I want to explore, where you can do. I want to verify that it can be good, it can be neutral, it can be evil, and so the test is going to. This is going to get redundant, right? I'll make this pass first, but then we'll refactor it. Where you can pass in sort of like test templates. It's a pattern I've implemented myself in Mocha, but you can. Jest actually supports it natively. If we look here, we've got this. If we look at our expect, our globals, we can say describe each and test each. And so what test each takes is a table which represents all the test data you want to use, all the scenarios that are going to go through the same test. And so you can say test each, and then here's our list of scenarios, and it's an array of arrays. And then you call, then you do the thing, right? And so that's kind of nifty. So I think that's what I want to do. And I'm guessing, yeah, okay, so I'm just looking to see how these work. So anyhow, I'm going to use this capability. That's right, Kyle. Cache your tests, they run faster. So I'm going to make this pass first, and then we're going to expand this test to do other things. So we basically need to say, we need to do the same thing we did in the previous one. This dot alignment equals neutral, and then get returns this dot underscore alignment, and then we can do a set alignment, and then this dot underscore alignment equals alignment. That works. And then I'm going to create two more tests that are going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm kind of curious to see how this works. It dot each. I'm kind of excited about this feature. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste, because this was always a pain in the ass when I was doing Jasmine. We'll say it.each, because it and test is the same. And we just need this to be good. And then this needs to be an array of arrays, so like that. Good, neutral, and evil. And then we, and this I think is the, yeah, that's the description. So it can be, I think it would be like that. And this would be alignment. There we go. I think I'm doing this right. And as a subject alignment equals alignment, expect it to be alignment. That works. And it says it can be good, it can be neutral, it can be evil. So that works exactly like I thought. So here we're saying it each, and then we give it 3 scenarios. I'm going to break this out to make it a little more readable. And then your description here, and then you take the arguments that are being passed in. So if I had good, comma, good, this would take, this could take alignment and expected. Now, in our case, it's all the same. So, but it would turn those in there, and then I could put another %s in here, and it would just work like string format. And then I can use those values in my test. And it's all good. Yeah, it cannot be stupid is going to be actually the next test. So you are on point, Grumpy Game Dev. So I've been doing an N unit with F sharp. Yeah, actually, I think I would like to watch that, Grumpy Game Dev. That sounds really interesting. Watching some F sharp N units on stream, I think that would be definitely worthwhile. Yep, that's the next test. Is so now test it so that it can only be one of those values. The challenge with that test, of course, is that there is an infinite set of things that it cannot be, and so we're just going to do one. And say it cannot be an invalid alignment. And then we'll say subject dot alignment equals stupid. Let's go with chaotic stupid. I like that. And the real question is the second part of the alignment capitalized or not? And then this, I expect this to throw an exception. I think that's what it should do. So let's see how that works. Expect to throw. I know there's a to throw here. Okay, and that's the syntax for it. That's kind of what I expected. I'll put this in here so we can talk about it more. So expect this arrow function defined right here, which is calling, whoops, which is going to be our code here. To throw, and then what do we want it to throw? It will throw chaotic stupid is not an alignment. I'm just going to throw a string. And that, of course, fails. And I could probably, there's not enough code here to really, let's do this. Is that readable enough? Before each runs before each it. Rhythm. Chaotic stupid with all caps. I'm going to copy that because I think that's the right way. Yeah, complete with exclamation point. And let's add that to the dictionary. Yeah, the cool thing with the before each is that it nests it, right? So if we look up here, I've got the describe hero let subject up here, and then before each, and that runs before each it. But I could do a before each inside of here as well that set us up for working with name. Not that I need to, but I could do that in this if I wanted to. Eventually, we will have tests that do that. Okay. So I'm going to just put this on the next line. There we go. I like that. And that's failing. So we need to add a validation to here. And so we can say if alignment is, well, this is one of those scenarios where I can say good, neutral, evil, and then say dot find. Yeah, it'd be dot find. There are ways to do things like enums with like symbols and stuff like that, but I haven't actually used symbols all that much, and so I didn't want to go down that path. It might be an interesting way to deal with that. So yeah, but that is a way you could do it. Symbols, they kind of work like Ruby symbols, where I just always just thought of Ruby symbols as sort of like Zen enums, where you know, it's like an enum, but there's no containing anything for it. It's just sort of out there. So, but strings are fine. So we'll find alignments, and then we need to say that will find the alignment, but it should return undefined. I think it'll return undefined if find doesn't find it. So we'll look in the list, find it, pass an alignment. If it doesn't find something that matches it, then we can just throw. We'll just throw this for now. Otherwise, we'll set it. And let's see if that changes our error. You just said expected to throw it. Let's see if there's a received message. Cadix stupid is not a function. That is not what? Is my test broken? Why is it saying Cadix stupid is not a function? That is like the last thing that I expected. Oh. If not, it's not found. There we go. No. Okay, I'm going to break down and look at the JavaScript array functions, because I can never remember what they all are. MDN, JavaScript array. Hooray! I apologize for that terrible pun. Yeah. Go to array. We're on array already. So there's find. What does find return? Returns the first element or undefined. So it should return something that I can do truthiness on. Let's do this. Find alignments. Let found equal bang bang. That discourses it into a Boolean from truthiness. It's not strictly speaking necessary. So we've got an array, and we try and find the alignment we passed in, and then that will give us a Boolean of it was found or it wasn't. And we say if not found, throw a message. It is not working. So this is breaking like all my tests, which I don't understand why it thinks Cadix stupid is not a function is the message we get back. Am I doing throw wrong? I know I've done this with JavaScript before. I'm going to cheat because I feel like I'm insane right now. And I have on my GitHub other implementations of this in JavaScript that I've done live in front of a studio audience. I'm not sure when the last time I did this live was. It might have been in Beer City Code in Grand Rapids last year. But let's look at my repos. Getting there. Next next? Poker Kata. Beer City Code 2019. Yep, that was the last time I did it. Let's look in the spec here. Actually, let's look in Hero. And we'll look at alignment. That's how I did it before. I did includes and then throw. I am so cheating, I'm even copying and pasting. Although really, now it's erroring for the right message. So find must not do what I think it does at all. Okay, so we can say if not if it doesn't include that, throw a message. That should continue to give us the yes. Excellent. I am a cheater that cheats. Cheating cheater that cheats. There we go. Not and alignment. And I forgot the single quotes around it. Now they're passing. Excellent. That took way longer than it should have. Oh, yeah, duh. Array.find uses a function. Thank you for the bits, Code in Quarantine. Thank you very much. Yes, find takes a predicate. Why am I so stupid? That's really the question we have to ask here, right? I want to put this on the next line. It's a little longish. It passes. I'm actually going to refactor this out to say that. And then say if not found, because this is kind of a long line of code, but I don't feel like adding a bunch of curly braces for what is effectively a really simple one-liner here. So, and that should still pass, and it does. Cool. So now our alignments work. What's our next requirement? I might as well just leave this up. Armor class and hit points. As a combatant, I want to have an armor class and hit points so that I can resist attacks from my enemies. Heroes have an armor class that defaults to 10 and has 5 hit points by default. And then the feature after that is attack. So let's just add armor class and hit points. These should be really easy. So we've described name. We've described alignment. Let's describe armor class. And this is going to be straight up expect hero or subject dot armor class to be 10, except it needs an it. There we go. And then the test is failing because it got undefined. So get armor class, turn 10. Easy peasy. Let's describe hit points. And say it defaults to 5, and expect subject dot hit points to be 5. And so this is going to be just another variation on this. These tests, these initial tests are, in the exercise, part of the point of these initial tests is to help get the rhythm of TDD. And that's really pretty much all they're for. Who doesn't like an extra useless local variable? Okay. So we've got armor class and hit points. Now we have attack. As a combatant, I want to be able to attack other combatants so that I can survive to fight another day. I roll a 20-sided die. Don't code the die. Coding random numbers is a pain in the butt. Not worth it. Not worth it. And now the roll must meet or beat the opponent's armor class to hit. So the way I usually approach this problem, when I first put this exercise together, the way I would approach attack was I would just add an attack method on the hero, and then you would just pass another hero in. And what happened is that the hero becomes a god object. It gets really big. And so what I learned was that it actually makes more sense to have some sort of combat or attack object that has two heroes or two combatants, and then a resolve function that resolves that attack. So that's the way I'm going to approach it today. I'm going to create an attack class, and then when you create it, you'll pass in two combatants, and then when you call resolve, it will tell you if it hit or not. So that's the idea. Let's do that. So that actually means we have another class that we'll be implementing here. So right now in Evercraft.js, we have hero. I'm going to refactor in preparation for this other class, I think maybe while we're here on passing tests. So I'm going to create my lib folder now, not a file, new folder, lib, and I'm going to create a hero.js. And I'm going to take the hero that I've defined in here, and I put it in hero.js, and module.exports equal hero. And then in Evercraft, I'm just going to require said hero. Say const hero equals require /lib /hero. And then all this class is going to do is just be a container for everything that is there. So, and then we'll just export the hero. And that still passes. You can have multiple combatants in a melee, which is why I'm going to create an attack class as opposed to a melee class, so that it is a ephemeral instance that is for resolving attacks specifically. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So we got our hero spec. I think we need a new file, which is the attack spec. And in here, we're going to say const attack equals, const, that is the wrong file name, .js. I'm like, why don't I have syntax highlighting? There we go. Const attack and hero, because we'll need both of those, equals require /Evercraft /. There we go. And then we can say describe an attack, capital A attack. That habit is old. And then we can say let subject. We need to have our subject in our before each. We need to create a subject. So let's say subject equals new attack. And we need a hero and an opponent. So the attack's going to take a hero in. It's going to take an opponent in. So, or it needs an attacker and a defender. Attacker, defender. So attacker equals new hero. Defender equals new hero. And then we create an attack object. It takes an attacker and a defender. Cool. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Did anyone remember when Mandy Patinkin was doing this advertisement on TV for Crestor? It was like a cholesterol control medication. And he's walking down the stairs and he starts out with hello. And it just pops in my head, you know, right? Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. Your cholesterol is 300. Prepare to die. Right. Inigo Montoya, that's right. So we unfortunately we don't have to name them here. So we got an attacker and a defender. Because we don't pass the name in the constructor here. So, but we need to describe what happens, and so say it's hits when. Is my camera still on? Because my phone, which I use as a camera, is getting a call for a number that I don't recognize. Yeah, so I can see it's frozen on stream. There, I'm back. Okay. Some number I don't recognize for a suburb of Columbus that I haven't lived in since 1993. The downside, let it go. I'm not singing that song. There we go. Then I'll get an email saying that you got a call. Okay, so it hits when roll beats armor class. So we'll say subject dot resolve, and we need to pass in the role that we have here. So we know that the attacker, the defender has an armor class of 10, so we'll pass in an 11. We'll do the edge case and say let's results equal, and we can say expect. Actually, we can just inline that to be true. And now it should say expects resolve is not a function. Actually, it says that subject is not a function because we haven't even created the attack class yet. So let's get that working. So attack.js, and we'll say class attack. Module.exports attack. And then over here in Evercraft, we need to say const attack equals more or less this to bring the attack into the there, and then we'll return it. Now it's saying subject.resolve is not a function. Easiest thing that works. There we go. That test is now passing. To be truthy. You know, I both love and hate truthiness. I mean, sometimes you can exploit it in fun ways. In other ways, it's an awful thing. Thaco. Yeah. Hey, the only reason Thaco existed was because armor class went down to be better, but rolls went up. And so you had to then do that inverted math in your head. Third edition came out and then fixed all that. Yeah, back when people could subtract. That's right, Grumpy Game Dev. Yeah, we don't do math. We're programmers. We got computers to do that for us. Oh, yeah, Brandon just said the same thing. Yeah, and I showed it a little bit earlier. There's this hack you can do with truthiness, right? Where you can say, let, foo equal bang bang empty string. And empty string's falsy. And so bang knots it, right? And so it turns falsy into true. And then bang turns it back into false. And so this is in some ways, an ugly hack that you don't really do anymore. You don't see this as much as you used to, but it's a thing you could do. If you ever find yourself needing to coerce a type to be Boolean. But this passes. Let's hits when roll beats armor class. Let's do its misses when roll is less than armor class. And so we'll pass in a 9. And we expect that to be false. Oh, thank you for the raid, Freestyle Coder. Always appreciated, always appreciated. How you doing today? Always appreciate a raid. It's always good to see Chris, too. Hey, Palin, thanks for the follow. Thank you very much. Yeah, there needs to be a quadruple equals because you can't say equals enough. So for those who just arrived from the raid, and again, thank you, Freestyle Coder. I am working on the Evercraft Kata today in JavaScript because I thought that would be kind of fun. And I'm doing it because I want to learn Jest, which I haven't used very much. And by not used very much, that means I read a little bit about it this morning, got a simple test working, and I'm fumbling through it live on stream because the best way to learn is under pressure, right? So that's what we're doing. Right now, we're just starting to work on the attack class where a hero can attack an opponent, and we're just seeing if they can hit or not. And so right now, we're saying that when the roll is less than armor class, it misses. And that is failing because I hard-coded the result to be true. So in attack.js, instead of returning a hard-coded true, I should probably look at roll and say, return roll greater than 10. That works for now. It's cheating, but it works. I think I want to go ahead and add the constructor here. I'm not sure if this is cheating or not. I'm not sure how to write a test to force this to happen without being mockist about things. I'm going to try and be classist in how I do my implementation this time. So we've got attacker and defender. And we can say this dot attacker. Actually, we won't need that. I'm going to go ahead and use the underscore convention that I've been using in other places, because this really should be this dot underscore defender dot armor class. And that still passes. So that's what we want it to be. What I really need is to have a defender change their armor class and see that it actually hovers around it, or I could have a test that actually spies on armor class and validates that I interact with it. I'm trying to avoid using those pieces of the framework right now. So I think this is okay. But I mean, there's a way I could cheat. I can do the simplest thing that works, and this isn't it. And so that bugs me a little bit. And so we also need it hits when roll meets armor class. So when we pass into 10, that needs to pass, and that fails because I have an edge case problem, which I actually deliberately did. If I do greater than or equal to, now it passes. So now we have an attack. An attacker can attack a defender. It's worth noting that we didn't actually look at the attacker. Strictly speaking, we don't need it yet. So I think I'm going to take it out of here. We will need it at some point. Because we'll need the attacker will end up with an attack modifier that we'll need to look at. So new attack defender. Oh, this isn't saved. There we go. So there we go. You ain't cheating if you ain't trying. If you ain't first, you're last. Shake it big. Cool. What's the next requirement? We can attack. Roll 20-sided die. Must meet or beat the armor class to hit. Character can be damaged. As an attacker, I want to be able to damage my enemies so that they will die and I will live. That's pretty basic. If an attack is successful, other character takes 1 point of damage. If there's a nat 20, then a crit is dealt and damage is doubled. And when hit points are 0 or fewer, the character is dead. So there's actually, and you'll notice as we progress through these tests, right, through these requirements, they get a little more involved, right? The beginning ones were, it's got a name. And here, the requirements, these 3 requirements don't really line up exactly with the test. They're just requirements. So, the way I like to approach this is I focus on the character being damaged first. And so I'll add a damage method to the hero. And then when you call it, you know, their hit points go down by 1. And then a status that checks to see if they're alive or not. So we can do that. And then I can build the critical idea into the attack class, and then the attack class then of course will damage players. So let's start with the hero again. So let's jump back to our hero spec, and this is telling me that we need to have hit points, and we need to be able to damage them. And so we want this number to go down. So I think I want to do these under the describe hit points. Yeah, I think that'll work. I could add a describe within it that says when damaged for a single damage for a single point of damage. And then before each here, we can actually damage them. I'm debating, do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I want to do this pattern. You say subject.damage. We'll pass in a 1 for 1 point. And say it's has fewer hit points. It's fewer, not less. And say expect subject dot hit points to be 4. Say when damaged. I'll just say when damaged, and then we'll pass in a different number. Let's pass in 3. There we go. So it has fewer hit points. So I'm thinking, well, let's just make this pass, and then I may restructure my tests here. Oh, hey, F-Word, how's it going? Yes, they're tests. I'm writing tests. As I rock back and forth on my ship here. So it has fewer hit points. Let's go ahead and make this pass, and we may restructure these tests because that one damage is gonna, it's gonna. Actually, let's do it now. Because we're gonna do a one damaged. And then we need to, damage is going to affect your hit points and your liveliness, right? And so I need a test here that describes whether you're alive or dead. Then I need a test that says when you get damaged, your hit points go down, but you're still alive. When you're damaged more, your hit points go down and you're dead. You know, that kind of stuff. So there's several permutations there. So, and this actually may be a describe.each as well. But let's just get this one here passing. And we'll go to hero, and we'll add a damage function. Damage. And we have points that are passed in. And then that's going to do a thing. And the hit points are going to go down. So here it should just be complaining that the hit points are not correct. So I am going to go ahead and set the default hit points to 5. And then this is going to return this underscore hit points. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this dot underscore damage equals 0. And then this dot, and this is going to return 5 minus this dot underscore damage. And so we're going to, because someone could be healed, right? And then when we call damage, and we still just have one failing, so that's good. I haven't broken anything. When we call damage, we can just say this dot underscore damage plus equals points. And that should make our test pass. And it does. Hooray! Okay. So we got damage here. That's good. What's our next spec? So when damage, I'm going to go ahead and describe. I don't know. Yeah, describe is alive. So we want a little thing to say whether they're dead or alive. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. That was RoboCop, by the way. Right before the real functions. Use quotes. That's good. It defaults to true. Expect subject dot alive dot to be true. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the next line there. You know, the fact that I use arrow functions gives me this temptation to just make everything one single line, but it gets ridiculous after a while and it gets hard to read. So, yeah. So we're going to check for liveliness. And so get is alive. And that's just going to return true for now. Did I make that a function in here? Oh, it's just alive. I want that to be is alive. My test is wrong. There we go. Now they're passing. Yeah, I know, right? I know Codebase Alpha. Yeah, they are a little spoon-fed. Okay, so back and hero spec. We got this is alive, defaults to true, when damaged, has fewer his points, is still alive. to be true. So they haven't been damaged enough, but, you know, they've been damaged a bit. When damaged a lot to 0 hit points, damaged them with 5. And this test here feels redundant, so I'm going to take it out. It's not going to verify anything new. It is dead. And that fails. So let's go back into hero.js. Yeah. Yeah, IRL, they say it has to do A, B, and C during UAT. They say X, Y, and T2. Didn't we tell you about those? And my response to that is, well, there wasn't a card for it on the card wall. But we can add that and we can keep going. Something agile, right? Okay, so this needs to be, instead of returning true, this needs to check the hit points. And I'm going to cheat and say if the hit points are 0, not 0. That is not what I thought it would do. That should be passing. I mean, it's wrong, but it should be passing. Let me look at my spec here. So when you damage the subject for 5, is alive, should be false. All right? That's what that's saying. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, this hit points is not a function. I'm just an idiot. Once again, I am an idiot. There we go. That passes. Excellent, Smithers. Well, you know, it's kind of Grumpy Game Dev. What you're saying there is, in real life, the business pays long-term for the decision that short-term feature developers make without unit tests. That is absolutely and totally true. It's kind of like every single time I'm on stream and I say, well, that's a problem for Future Guy. Screw that guy. What's he know, right? We don't like that guy. Future Guy doesn't deserve our help. That's exactly what's happening there at an organizational level. So, now, there are times when that makes sense, right? Future me hates me. Yeah, that's the truth, ain't it? But there are times when you do want to make that decision, right? You want to say, no, we're gonna break all the rules and go fast to get done now, because if we don't, we won't have a company. And that's a really good reason to break those rules. That is the definition of technical debt, right? It is mindfully taking on debt. From a code point of view, to meet a particular objective which is worth it, right? But what most places do is they just rack up the credit card mindlessly with Starbucks and McDonald's instead, and then they're like, well, why doesn't everything work? It's like, well, that's why, right? And there are other companies where that credit card bill is such a small percentage of their total income that it actually kind of doesn't matter, and they're still able to function as a business, and so they just don't care. And in those positions, it's defensible. It's like, well, we could make this highly optimized and save 0.001%, and it doesn't matter. So there are times when it's okay to violate those things. And there are other times when you can get away with it. And then there is times when you do it and it's you mindlessly accumulate that technical debt and end up paying for it. usually it's the wrong decision. So, okay, so is alive is doing what I want. Back to the specs. Back to the specs, right? Yeah. That's exactly what happens in Grumpy Game Dev. It slows down, and then it's like, well, why is it taking longer and longer to get the features out? Well, we got to do more testing. Well, why? Yeah. Well, remember that decision we made 2 years ago, 6 months ago? So I think I want to rearrange my tests now, because I think these can go nicely up here. So hit points defaults to 5. It goes down when damaged. So we'll go ahead and damage them. Is alive, defaults to true. Is still alive when damaged. And again, we're going to do that 3 points of damage here. Is dead when really damaged. I think I like that a little bit better. So now our tests, we're describing the hit points. They default to 5, and they go down when damaged. Is alive, defaults to true. Is still true when damaged. Is false when really damaged. And we have another test we need right here, which is it's false when they're really, really damaged. Because if we look at my implementation for hero on damage, or is alive, I check to see if it's equal to 0. So if they have 0 hit points, they're dead. If they have a -1, they're still alive. So that's clearly wrong. So when it's really, really damaged, so let's do 10 points of damage. So let's do 6. Take it right past the line. And that should fail. Expected true to be false. And all we have to do to fix that is say this dot hit points is less than or equal to 0. It's greater than 0. I keep inverting the is alive to be is dead. Okay, cool. So characters can now be damaged, and they have a liveliness to them, right? So if we go back and look at our requirements, we're working on character can be damaged, so they can be damaged. Now that's good. And if they go below 0, they're dead. But we haven't done any of the attack stuff yet. Let's do some of the attack stuff. So that's going to take us back to attack.js and attack spec, and say when hits when roll beats armor class, hits when roll meets armor class, misses when roll is less than armor class. And so this is a hit. This is a just hit. This is a miss. And so what we need here is a test that says, describe when a roll hits, not function. I have arrow functions in Jest. That's very nice. When a roll is when a roll beats armor class. And it hits, right? So before each, we'll say subject dot resolve 11 And let's let result equal here. Define result. Let result equal. Actually, it's not let. We just need result equals. Actually, I can single line that. Okay, so result is equal to subject.resolve 11. It hits. So we just expect result to be true. And we expect it damages the defender for a single point. Okay, so to check that we've damaged the defender, we'll say expect defender dot hit points to be 4. So because we know they have 5 hit points to begin with, and so they should be down 1. And they're not. So it might be worthwhile. I think this will make the test a little more robust, because I'm okay with playing around with default hard-coded magic numbers in my tests in the hero. I'm kind of okay with it. But in attack, I feel like I'm far enough isolated from it, I probably shouldn't be doing that. So let's go ahead and add a previous hit points value in here as well. So in our before each, in addition to getting the result of whether it hit or not, we can capture that. Say previous hit points equals defender dot hit points. And then down here, instead, we can say expect defender hit points to be previous hit points minus 1. So we expect them to have gone down by 1. I think that's a slightly better test, because we're kind of pulling out the magic numbers, at least the ones that are in scope for here. Strength checks, you need to fail a weakness check and so on. That's a fun idea. Why don't you try that and let me know how that goes? Like, I can see it being really confusing. Like one game I have a cipher system, and it's got the a rule in it I really like, which is that the DM never rolls, the players always roll. So when a monster attacks the players, they roll the defense, and when they attack a monster, they roll to hit. And so the monster never rolls; it's only the players, and so it puts all the dice in the players' hands, which is kind of cool. So it's not kind of like if someone attacks you, you make a saving throw. But if someone, if you're attacking, then you make an attack roll, and you're always rolling. Kind of a neat way of looking at it. Players would beat a path to your door. So let's make this this test pass. It's damaging the defender for a single point. So in attack, we want to say, actually, I'm looking at this test. One other last thing. I want to rename this to hit. Attack hit. Yes or no? Actually, did it hit? That's because it hit. What I wanted to say is attack hitted. But it just saying it hit or attack hit doesn't, because it's a noun and it's also a verb and doesn't, in the past tense doesn't clear. So did it hit makes that clear. So in the attack spec, we need to say let hit equal. We'll do this. Return hit. And now that we have that, we say if hit defender. Actually, I don't need any of that right now. Defender dot damage 1. I don't need that if statement yet. Oh, this dot underscore defender. Is my spec wrong here? It says previous hit. Oh, previous hits points. That's the problem. My test is wrong. Okay. The typos are really getting me hard today. So, yeah. Defender hit. That's a good one. Yeah. That's much better. Thank you, Codebase Alpha. It struck. Attack hitted. Monosyllabic Saxon words are like that. Yes, they are. Hit, hot, hitted. Is that how that works? Good old strong verbs. That's a good refactor, thank you. And that passes, of course. So now we need to, but what we're doing here is we're just saying, we're not checking to see whether it hit or not. We're just always damaging them. So let's do this sort of refactor that we did up here, down here. Want to roll, well, let's skip the, I'm going to move this one down here. Because it won't, if I take what meets the armor class, it's not going to drive in any new behavior. And so I want to go ahead and use this scenario, the next one down. Scribe when a roll misses is less than armor class. And that's the 9 scenario here. And it misses. Expect defender hit to be false. That should all still pass. I've just reorganized the tests. It doesn't damage the defender. That one will fail because we're just always damaging. So now we can do a check and say, hey, if it hit or not. We can say if hit, then damage them. Cool. And I think this this here is actually a good example of the of a time to use that each syntax in Jest. Right? So Jest has got that in the globals, you can say describe.each, which will go through and I'll let you put in a table of scenarios and run them, because we're running into this permutations thing, right? Because we really need also to do the same thing for this one here, sort of, maybe. And the other thing, if we look at the requirements, we have to do, there it is, critical hits. So when it's a natural 20, that's a critical success. And so we need to double the damage. And so, but they're all going to be doing the same assertions. So, so let's set that up. Let's see what that looks like. And this takes the array of arrays. And then that's going to be, we get the previous hit points, that's fine. The defender hit. Should they be, so we need the roll. So this would be 11. True, they were hit. And 1 would be how many points of damage they take. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the description in there as well, because I think it'll look better up there. I actually really wish that these weren't arrays because it makes them kind of hard to read. I'd rather have objects. There's probably a way I could do an object here. In fact, let's play around with that concept. I don't think it's going to work the way it works. If I make this an object and say, roll hits and points like that, then, I mean, it's certainly going to pass that in, right? I mean, because it's an array. And this would be then the description and the data. And I can just put the description here. Actually, I think this will work. And then here we'll say this becomes roll. This becomes data.roll. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that's still working. Expect hits to be data.hits. The previous system is minus data.points. Actually, that works really well. That worked really, really well. Let's do that again. Let's see that again. And so here's our roll is less than armor class. Hits is false. Points is 0. Because it doesn't do any points of damage. I think I'm liking this. I'm not using that. I wonder if I could underscore it. Yes, I can. Cool. Cool. That needs to be better, though. It damages the defender for data.points. And this is going to be, this needs to be something as well. This could be data.hits. Question mark hits, otherwise misses. Okay, is this still looking good from a test run perspective? Am I abstracting away the clarity? Possibly. That's one. That's one thing that you get. There's that balance, right? You see this with Rubyists a lot. In Ruby, well, I should say you see this in Ruby a lot. I don't want to call people out. In Ruby, you've got this thing where the metaprogramming is so powerful that you use it, and you start abstracting away the understanding of your code. You dry it up. You get rid of that repetition, and you just keep amping it up and amping up until you've made it so dry that it's arid, and it's hard to understand. And the more you know a language, the easier it is to do that and get away with it. And that's a risk I'm running here in JavaScript. But so far, it's not too over the top. I don't think. I think we're okay. Let's do when roll meets armor class. No, I get asked about the font a lot. I probably should point that. I'm using Fira code. It's a fixed width font that has ligatures in it, which lets it do the cool. I'll show you here in just a second. Let me get my numbers in here. That should still pass. It does. I can get rid of this line here. So it's got the ligatures that let you do, like when you do equals, double equals, or triple equals, or not triple equals. It creates these ligatures to put them together. One of my favorites is If you say greater than or equal to, it collapses it down. Not equal is pretty cool because it puts the slash through it. I haven't used JetBrains Mono. They may very well be doing similar things. It allows the arrow functions to turn into that, for example. Spaceship operator ends up looking like that, which, if you're a Rubyist, is probably not what you want it to look like. But yeah, there's the and if you're doing the pipe greater than, which is all over the place in Elixir and F#, it's got ligatures for lots of these things. So this is actually looking pretty good. Cool. I'm going to put that there just to make that a little clearer because it's a little crowded there. So what's the next requirement here? We've got the attack successful, the character takes a point of damage. If it rolls, so we got critical hit. So we should be able to use this here to do that too. I'm going to change the order. Just because I want my numbers to be in ascending order. And that's the only reason. When the roll is a natural 20, it hits, and it does 2 points of damage. Yes, I am. It's really more of the important question is does anal retentive have a hyphen? The answer is yes, it does. Yeah, it's because it's being used as an adjective, so it needs a hyphen, right? Yeah, grumpy game dev. Don't tell me how to live my life. Yeah. I'm gonna go on a limb there, grumpy game dev, and saying that putting your functions in alphabetical order is worse. I suspect you'll probably agree with me. I actually tend to order my functions in sort of a hierarchy, right? So all the functions that are intended to be public come first, and then the ones that are private go after those, and then the ones after those. So the further down, like the call hierarchy, the further down in the list of functions they go. Although I suppose for the public functions, putting them in alphabetical order, you may have, you may have given me a terrible idea. I have this thing that I insist on doing where there must always be a new line at the end of the file, and it comes from pairing with my buddy Dan Wiebe, who, for years, he insisted on having it there, and now it feels wrong not to have it. Yeah, call hierarchy is generally more important, but within that, like all the public ones maybe I'll have to noodle on that. I think the key there though for function ordering in a class is frequency of use, right? So the things that you want to understand first when you look at the class, you need to have first in the class. And then everything that is dependent upon those, or that they are dependent upon, it can be black boxed a little bit by being below the fold. That's kind of how I kind of think of it. So we got a failing test here, which is that we're not doing 2 points of damage on a crit. So say let crit equal roll equals exactly 20. And then we need to say, if it's a hit and it's a crit, damage for 2. Else, if it's a hit, it's a hit. Damage for 1. Otherwise, don't damage. And that's kind of ugly. I don't like it. So I'm going to add some curly braces. You can get away without using the curly braces if it's just if do a thing, really simple. But as soon as you do something like this, as soon as you put that else in there, it gets complicated. Let's see if that passes. It should pass. Excellent. It passes. Cool. So that is character can be damaged. Okay, now we got abilities. This is a big piece of the kata. And so we've got ability scores. As a character, I want to have several abilities so that I am not identical to other characters except in name. Abilities are Strength, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. Abilities range from 1 to 20 and default to 10. Abilities have modifiers according to the following table. Well, this will be fun. Excuse me for a second here. A tragic mistake one day and you swore never again. I guess I can relate to that. Can AC be greater than 20 in this game where a crit would still need to hit? It's kind of an edge case. It's not laid out in the requirements of this the kata here, but I would say that a natural 20 always hits regardless. That might be worth putting in at some point. Right now we have no way of modifying armor class, so that's a little ways down the road. So it's an edge case that won't come up for a long time, but I would say yeah. So yeah. So we're not gonna worry about that question, and we'll leave that to future guy. Screw that guy. So we've got abilities. They need scores. They have a modifier that's computed from the score, and then you can use those abilities to modify your attack, roll, and damage. That kind of stuff. Your dex goes to your armor class. Your constitution affects your hit points, etc., etc. Yeah, I do have a link to the kata. I'll throw it right here in chat. There we go. It's been out there for a while, long enough that I've had a few people actually help contribute to it. This is George. He's the guy that I created this with about a decade ago. Yeah, you look here, 9 years ago, right? There's me. This is a guy that decided he wanted to use this for a workshop in Germany, and so he made some changes to improve it slightly. This is Jim Wyrick, the late and great Jim Wyrick. He did this exercise when we first did it at CodeMash, very first year, and he started sending us pull requests to clarify the requirements. And I don't remember what Chad did. I think he might have just found some grammar errors. But yeah, we've had a fair bit of help over the years on this. But it's a fun exercise. So yes, definitely. Sorry, I just had a moment of reverie there. I was thinking about the last time I saw Jim. So sorry, it came again. So the last time I saw Jim was at CodeMash about 2 months before he passed. And we were like, oh, we need to get together and pair because we never actually sat down and coded together. And we're like, yeah, we need to do that. And then I never got the chance. So anyhow, yeah, let's make abilities work. So, and I'm running towards the end of my stream here, but I might go a little bit long today in celebration of it being July 3rd and all. In celebration of it being Independence Eve or Treason's Eve. Let's create a new spec for ability. Ability spec. So describe, okay, we need to bring in ability. Let's, or const. That's not how you spell const. It looks like it could be French though, doesn't it? Son. Treason's Eve. That's exactly it. Yeah. Merca Explosion Day. Not this year. There's like 2 cities. I live in Franklin County in Columbus, Ohio. In Ohio, it's county that Columbus is in. And there are two cities, two municipalities amongst them in the county that have decided that they're going to have fireworks anyhow. And what's going to happen is that the entirety of everyone who thinks, well, let's just go there and watch fireworks, are going to descend upon these tiny little towns of West Jefferson and Obetz. And it's going to be a mess. We're just going to hang around the house. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Now my plan, actually, my two of my boys, my oldest son moved out a few weeks ago, but my my middle son and my youngest son are at Boy Scout camp right now down in West Virginia. So they're coming back on the 4th of July. So we're going to just be unloading camping gear is all we're going to be doing. So const ability equals require dot slash Evercraft. And then we can describe. That is not describe. Describe ability. And then we will just describe score. So it has a score and it has a modifier. So those are the two properties we'll describe. And up here we'll say let ability, and then before each ability equals new ability. And I spelled ability wrong. There we go. And then here we'll describe the things about abilities. I don't know why it wants to say instance of. Defaults to 10 for about ability scores specifically. Expect, and this should be subject. Expect subject.score to be 10. 10. There we go. And that will give an error saying that, abilities don't exist and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and add an ability. Class ability. Module dot exports equals ability. I keep the pistols and the rifle loaded, doors locked, and remind the kids how to turn off the safety if needed. Comeliness. That's an old school one. That was in first edition, and Unearthed Arcana, I think, was introduced originally, or was that part of basic? It wasn't basic and expert. Maybe they added that in. What came after expert? Was it immortal, or I can't remember. I remember they added comeliness as an ability in Unearthed Arcana, though. That's where I first saw it in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Back in 1987. Okay, so in Evercraft.js, and then we'll bring in ability here. Hero, attack, ability. Okay. I'm doing this for you, Grumpy Game Dev. Just for you. There we go. Putting them in proper alphabetical order. So our tests should be changing here to be better. And it's saying score is undefined, which is correct. So now we actually can say, get score, return 10. That is not what it should be doing. What am I missing here? This is going to be another I made a typo. That's what this always is. Ability is not a constructor. Module that exports ability. And ability spec. Because I need to do it like that. That's the problem. Okay. What else does it say about abilities? Has a default score of 10, can range from 1 to 20. So let's make it changeable. It can be changed. And then we'll say subject.score equals, say, 15. And we'll expect subject.score to be 15. And that's going to fail because you can't set score because there's no setter. Although it didn't complain about that. Actually, it probably does set the property on it anyhow. But regardless, we want to say set score this dot underscore score equals score and a score. In the constructor, in the construct score. That was terrible. I should be ashamed of myself. I am ashamed of myself. We'll default that to 10, and then this just can return this dot underscore score. Pattern we've done a bajillion times already. That all passes. Now we need it cannot be more than 20. So we'll set it to 21. Subject.score equals 21. And we're going to expect, this is going to be just like, we're going to throw an exception. So we're going to look at hero spec and remember how we did that for alignment. There, expect call to a function to throw a thing. Equals 21. We're back. There's our chaotic stupid again. To throw. Ability cannot be abilities. A score must be between 1 and 20. Inclusive. There we go. Now we're expecting to throw an exception, which it doesn't do, but we're going to make it do that. So we can set score and say if score is greater than 20, throw that message. Throw empty string for now. And I'll just copy that for convenience. Excellent. Score cannot be less than 1. So we'll set it to 0. And we will expect the same error. If score is greater than 20 or score is less than 1. And that passes. So now we got our basic validation in there. And they have a modifier according to the following table. There's a lot of ways we could do this. And what I usually end up doing is the thief acrobat. You know, I was always confused with the thief acrobat. And in D&D, because the thief acrobat, in the D&D cartoon, you had thief and acrobat. They were like separate. But then in Unearthly Canada, they had the Thief Acrobat. I'm like, well, you know, you got to pick, don't you? Right? Oh, you have a nice reprint of the main, like the first edition Codebase Alpha, or the second edition. The first edition, excellent. Oh yeah, the D&D cartoon on DVD. I should. Does it hold up? Is really kind of. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, so I don't know if it's held up over the years. Sometimes things you thought were awesome when you were a kid don't hold up. Like I used to think Super Friends was the best thing ever, and then I watched it when I was in my 20s, and I'm like, oh, what did I see in this? So, um, okay, cool. Um, well, let's get the modifier here. I'm running a little over, but I feel like I'm on a roll. I at least want to get this the abilities here wrapped up, and so I'm going to use that. I know the solution to the problem, right? I know the math problem that I need to solve, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the modifier, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a it defaults test, but then it's going to be, actually I'm not going to give it a defaults test. I'm going to do a set it to this value, check the modifier, and I'm going to do that using each, and then I'm going to pass in an array, and this array is going to be it's going to be 1 and then the modifier. And so based on the table here, a 1 is a -5, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. A 2 is a -4. A 3 is a -4. A 5 is a -3. A 6 is a -3. And I'm going to do this very tedious bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 4, 5. So -5, -4, -3. This is going to be 1, 6, 10. No, 11 and 16. It's going to be 7, 12, and 17. This will be 8, 13, and 18. This will be 9, 10, 14, 15, 19, and 20. And I'm going to go ahead and space these just so they're a little easier to read. There we go. So 5, 4, 3, -2. -1. Is that right? Yeah. And this would be +0, +0, +1. And even though, I mean, the plus doesn't do anything, but it makes it more readable. +2. This has got to be the most boring. I was going to say this is the most boring thing I've ever streamed, but I'm sure that's not true. +3, +4, +4, and +5. Okay, there's all our scenarios. It returns. It has a modifier of %i for a score of %i. And then we've got score and modifier, which means these %i's are not going to work. It has a score %i has a modifier of that. And I'm going to use the word test here because it actually, in this scenario, it makes a better verb. Test score of 12 has a modifier of +1. So that's how this will look. And then that's an arrow function. And we can say expect, and we can say subject dot score equals score. Expect subject dot modifier to be modifier. I'm on a roll. Bun intended. Bun intended. Okay. And then I should have 20 failures. And I have exactly 20 failures. That's good. It means it's running all my tests. So then to get this to pass, I need to have get modifier. And I won't have a setter because we're never going to set this. It's just a computed value only. So I can say score divided by 2. So that'll give me, if the score's 20, that'll give me 10. And then I think it's then minus score or something like that. Or we can do score minus, is score minus 10 divided by 2? I think that's actually what we want. Let's see. Let's see what the results say. Obviously, there's a rounding that needs to happen here. All of them failed. So if your score is 1, you divide it by 10. Really? They all failed? I wasn't expecting that. Oh, this dot underscore, this dot score. There we go. Did they all fail again? Try that. I'm not doing well here at all. Well, I know I need to do a math.floor in here somewhere. So let's just go ahead and throw that in there. Maybe it's returning a floating point. It doesn't like it. Received under, oh. Return. Numbnuts. Yeah, I see your comment now. Okay, so that's better. Score minus 10 divided by 2. So if your score is a 10, and those, okay, yeah. So if your score is a 10, you subtract 10, that gives you 0. Divided by 2 is going to give you 0. If your score is 11, subtract 10, that gives you a 1. Divided by 2 is going to give you 0.5. Flooring it will take it to 0. That is the formula. So, abilities work. Excellent. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it there. Let me get that code up on GitHub for you all. A whole bunch of stuff here. Git commit -m results of stream on. What's the date today? 2020. It's Treason's Eve. And Cool. Treason's Eve is a great name for it. I think I'm going to call it that from now on. We can have Independence Day and Treason's Eve. Because on the day before Independence Day, you commit treason, and then on Independence Day, the treason has already been committed. It's past tense, and so then it's independence at that point. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go out to GitHub here and create a repo for this. I guess I need to sign in. I'll do it off stream because I don't have one password running, and then I'll need to do the authentication thing with the two-factor authentication and everything. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. But I'll put it up right after I'm done here. So, but yeah, so that was fun. I haven't done that in a while. Next time I do this, I need to actually add the abilities to the character and then have them influence what the character does. So, and I think I'm just going to add them as they come up, right? So the strength, the dex, and the con, we'll go ahead and add those in here, but we'll do intelligence, wisdom, and charisma later if the requirements call for them. But yeah, that was fun. I haven't done that in a while. So, oh, hey, Game Pooper A. Did you just arrive, or have you been here the whole time? I was actually just getting ready to wrap up. I hope you haven't just arrived. But it's been fun. Well, you're very welcome. Very, very welcome. The real question right now is the question we always have at this point of the show is, whom shall we stream? Or whom shall we stream? Whom shall we raid? So I'm going to click on the raid button over here and just see what is available. JitterTed is streaming right now. Taylor and Code is streaming, and John Kennedy is streaming. So JitterTed is probably doing Java and test-driven development. Taylor and Code is that's Chad Green. He runs Code Palooza. I don't know what he's working on right now. And John Kennedy is probably doing his Elixir game that he's been working on. So, do we want Java or Elixir? I think John Kennedy could get a lot of value out of us rating him. So, I'm leaning his way, but I'll go the way chat wants to go. Let's do John. Okay, let's do John because he's got one person watching right now, and so he needs a raid. So, okay, start raid. John's a good guy. Elixir's very, very cool. Very, very cool. So, raiding now. See you guys later. Bye.